Welcome to Marketing 411. With Paul Cookson, you will get the latest in ad strategies, marketing advice, and much, much more. Marketing 411 with Paul Cookson.
I'm Paul Cookson, and I'm here with some guests for my first official professional podcast, Marketing 411. I'm so excited to be doing this. It's great to get some information out there all about marketing to help people market themselves, whether you're an actress, whether you're a doctor, a dentist, a business owner, whoever you are. So here I am. I'm here with Veronica London, who is an up-and-coming, aspiring actress. She's been in some really neat productions so far. Veronica, thanks for coming today. I'm pretty excited to have you here.
It's awesome to see you. Always a pleasure.
We hooked up to do your website for you and to help you with your marketing. And when I say we, my company, adarmygroup.com and Ace Web Design. One of the things that I want to have our viewers learn about is how important a logo is, and maybe run them through the process of how it works coming up with a neat logo. So if anybody's listening right now, hopefully lots of people are, but if you go to veronicalondon.ca, veronicalondon.ca. That's the site that we made for Veronica, and we had a lot of fun together. Let's talk about making your logo for you and the thought process behind that, and maybe some of your thoughts coming in, like, hey, Paul, I want this and I want that, and maybe talk about that process.
Well, it's actually really interesting because when I first went in for the meeting and to talk about the website, I didn't realize actually the importance of having a logo, and it's definitely something even like with Nike and major brands, that a logo, it's one of those that people see and then automatically they're going to associate it with either an emotion, a feeling, or just for branding, selling power. So coming up with the logos, mostly like brainstorming, and I wanted something that was bold but chic and also provocative. So we started going through like a lot of images and then trying to see how we can get the whole name Veronica London in, just because I want to make that more of a bolder kind of statement, stick that name out. And we came across a very interesting image of me in lingerie bending over. So then we're like, oh my God, that's perfect if you just put it at the end. Mind you, at very first I was kind of like hesitant about it, but then overall, like the way they did the whole website and the images they used, it just, gave it that extra edge of being sexy, but also being a serious kind of a website. It's fun.
I really like how it... and
everybody was talking about it. So it's definitely one of those things, like, you want people to be talking about it.
Absolutely.
The other important thing that I think we should mention about logos is to reinforce the importance of a logo is I've had clients in the past that have multiple different representations of their name. So in other words, multiple different logos that don't match each other. So in the newspaper, it would be one logo. In another, in a magazine, it would be a different logo. On TV, it's maybe something else. Now, the problem with that is consumers, when they see your logo one way, they may think you're one company, and when they see your logo another way, they may think you're another. It's a really smart idea to have one logo design that you stick with, and you use that logo in all your marketing efforts. It's a really smart idea to do that.
Mike, what do you think about the logo?
I think you spelled Veronica wrong. I really like it. It's very nice. Very cool.
Veronica, not Victoria.
We better.
I said Victoria earlier. Sorry.
You're like, Victoria.
I know, buddy. That was... I'm
really sorry. I'll get your IMDb later on.
I heard that earlier. I was like, oh boy, it's a wrong name. But anyway.
Are you on IMDb?
Of course.
Is that linked into your website?
It is. With... Paul was able to link everything on there, from like my Twitter, my Facebook, my YouTube, my Reel, which is the most important thing, because when producers go onto your website, like the first thing they actually want to see is a Reel. So he definitely linked everything, which is amazing. My Twitter feed. So everybody is all about Twitter, getting your followers, get your numbers up, and what's going on.
So tell us, you were just at TIFF and you were doing a lot of really fun stuff. Tell us about that.
TIFF is always fun. A lot of my friends are down in Los Angeles, and it's like those 11 days that, Toronto or North Hollywood actually becomes a little bit more of a Hollywood. So it's a lot of catching up. And the first thing people actually do, which I found really interesting, it's like you give them a business card, but they will actually Google you like right there in front of you and go straight to your website. And they're like, oh, okay. So if you have like the website down, and it's like your credibility just goes up, and all the information is pretty much just
This
there.
is at TIFF parties. They grab your card.
You wouldn't, yeah. This is so funny. It's like, hey,
up.
like even like at charity events and stuff like that. It's like, okay, let's stay in touch. I'm working on a script, or this is coming up for like auditions, and like 'cause everybody like lives with their cell phone pretty much nowadays,
Right.
and it's like, oh, okay, so you've done this, you've done that, and I'm like. It's kind of just how it goes now, like, you know, and it almost gives them more to talk about, which I found really interesting because the data is literally just in front of them.
You know what? You're pretty savvy. I got to say that you're pretty savvy.
Thanks.
And I'll tell you, and I'm not just saying that. There are some actresses out there and actors that don't actually understand the value of a website. I was talking to an actress the other day, and she said, I'm on IMDb, and that's all I need. And I don't agree with that at all.
No.
Your creative flexibility on that is not very flexible. You type in a few things and you can add some pictures in that, but it's doesn't compare.
Paul, you don't think that maybe with people's social networking plays a lot into them getting parts? For example, will this gal tweet that they're in this show or on this show or part of this cast when it's time, because it's all part of the promotional thing now, so that if you have
strategic.
if you have a big buy-in of Twitter fans or Facebook fans and followers, it makes you a more valuable property as an actor.
Even for networks
Absolutely.
nowadays, before that was never used to come into play, but now it's like, what are your numbers with like social media, which is actually what you write down in auditions, and you're like, wow, so this is really like power in numbers, and it's almost like, you know, it's your following.
It's part of the audition process here for certain. Yeah.
Absolutely. Curtis Joseph, we did Curtis Joseph's website, and when we were putting that all together, one of the things that I thought was really important is that he developed a Twitter base, so that when he was doing an event, let's say at Canadian Tire, in 2 weeks from now, he could tweet about it and say, I'm going to be at the Canadian Tire in Barrie or wherever it is.
Yeah.
And if he has 100,000 followers, 50,000 followers, whatever it is, when he's tweeting about it, now all of a sudden that event is going to be that much more popular, because whatever Canadian Tire and Barrie is doing to promote it, that's one thing. But if he can now bring an extra 50, 100, 200 people, whatever the case may be, to that event, that's only going to add value to what he brings to the table. And
totally.
that goes for actresses, actors, business people, whatever it is. If you have a following, that translates to dollars, which makes the cash register ring.
The people that will tune into this podcast are P1 audience. The P1 audience means that they'll listen to the entire show. They want the next one that arrives. And every time that you tweet or do a Facebook update and somebody takes a look at that, they are a P1 audience. They're the most valuable impression that you can make, because they've bought in, they subscribe, and they follow you. No form of media could be more powerful than that.
Oh, I
Television
fully
can't
agree.
do it. Radio can't do it. So if you already go to the floor with this kind of power and you've built your own community, in the very near future, your community is more important than the mass community, easily. So, to have a big following and use your website to do it seems like the ultimate way.
Yeah, especially if you want to get paid in the future for tweets and for branding power, or if you're going to bring out a product, come up with your own line. Like, it's so much easier than spending like hundreds of thousands of dollars with advertising, because already it's like Lady Gaga. Her whole thing is like you reinforce like social media. Right. She's like, if anything, like I tell my fans first on like Twitter, and then I let it come out in the news, because then it also makes them feel special at the same time. It's like creating that connection, even though you're not actually like interacting with them like face to face.
Right.
Does your career involve? Have you been offered to this point to do paid tweeting?
Yeah, I actually, during my ankle, my broken ankle, I actually took that time to get more into endorsements and like stuff like that. So I collaborated with like fitness products, and now even with clothing. So it was ultimately like a really good opportunity to take that time to really like get into marketing. And this is even when the website came into play, and they're like, okay, so this is the image that she's selling. She'll definitely go with this. And then she broke her ankles, but she looks fit. So get into fitness products. And then with the Twitters, okay, then, so everything just kind of came into play. But without really like having a place where everything connects everything, then it's not going to work out. If you if you don't give somebody all the info like right in front of them, it's too much work for them and they won't like deal with you really.
So now, Veronica, we've been talking a bunch about marketing, which is awesome because that's what the show's about. But I think it'd be kind of neat for you to maybe just tell the listeners out there a little bit about yourself, your background, your modeling, your acting.
Tell us how Paul broke your ankle. He pushed you down. Isn't that true? He pushed you to the floor. Paul, why
We
would
were
you do
play
that?
fighting.
Sure.
I'm a part-time wrestler, but don't tell anybody.
Just like how I used to box, right?
It's pretty interesting, though, that you used that time to actually use social networking to your career.
Well, my publicist really kicked in at that time. Like, you know, they always have to keep you in the public eye, especially because I had a movie that just came out and they're like, whoa, like all the roles just kind of went down the hill. But at the same time, that's when I realized it's like, this is like a business. Like, if you can't be shooting because you get fractured, like you better have like your brand ready to come out with like products or like make, you know, like appearances. So it was a really good, like an eye opener for me personally.
An eye opener, not to what? How did that episode happen? By the way,
Which one?
with your foot.
When
with
you
your
pushed her
Oh,
down. Bully.
I didn't do anything.
You need a website, go to bully.ca.
Bully boy.
bully boy. I actually initially sprained it during some fight sequences during rehearsal for a movie.
So you were
And then-
scrapping.
Yeah, I liked it. I used to box like 5 times a week. So like this whole break of not being able to move
Really?
was like,
Mike, do you have the gloves with you today? Did you bring them?
no.
Not the right gloves. No,
What kind of gloves are these?
You got
I
the
brought
wrong gloves.
I brought the white inspection gloves. Can we use those?
I have my special ring. I can fight.
Holy shit!
Yeah. Boy, that could end up across your mouth, and that would really hurt.
This is like a weapon.
You
I know.
you better be good, Mike.
I will do
Look
my
at
best.
that! Look at that weapon. That's on. No, do you have
I'll set you
matching? Do you have
straight.
matching ones?
No, just one.
I wish the listeners
because
could
I'm like
see this.
right-handed, so you
You're
only need
right-handed.
it with your right.
So, do you do your own stunts?
You know, I did, but after that experience, I'm like, anything that's like crazy, no way, I'm not doing it ever again. Like, I can't even bother risking it. Like, even with like Tom Cruise when he did like Mission Impossible, I was like,
Why
He did his
you
own
do that?
stunts?
Yeah.
yeah.
Did he get hurt?
No.
No.
Oh, okay.
I guess it's just one of those.
Somebody was going to say he got hurt or
Sorry,
something.
did I sound disappointed?
Broke his arm or
No,
something?
he's fine.
No, he was good. He did his own stunts.
But no, that's definitely a lesson learned for future things that are like outrageous. I love like, you know, a thrill and a thrill seeker, but the price of being out of the game for 5 months, just life
Was it
in
5
general.
months?
That's
5
not good.
months, eh?
Yeah.
So there wasn't any parts for somebody that had a bad leg? 'Cause
Well,
that
you
would've
know,
been
when I
handy.
had to do pickup scenes, they changed all my scenes to me sitting down, which is like, I guess technically.
Did
yeah.
you just ask if she? What, they don't have any like
Parts
for
movie
people?
parts for somebody with a bad leg.
Yeah, but
They do.
a bad wheel.
They had like Degrassi.
But-
you
but-
know,
Oh,
the
okay.
guy
Oh,
that was
that's
sitting
right.
down.
They could have thrown her
They
in a
don't
wheelchair.
really need you to be hurt for those. You know, we can. Yeah,
But if you actually are, if you actually are though, it would be more
Well,
realistic.
you know, they probably
guess
could have changed my scenes, yeah, because I played an assassin, but that probably would
Yeah.
have changed the whole thing. Oh, she
so
got
it
hurt,
could have
so
been
I'm
a
in
special
wheelchair now.
assassin in a
You know, like
high-powered wheelchair.
X-Men,
It's like
the
four-
guy that sits down and then like
that's
everything.
right.
Sorry,
That would have been a totally different movie, though.
That's
It could have
funny.
been interesting though.
Don't they have any parts?
Dressed
for
in a scuba
people?
suit.
Well, you can find any injured ankle parts. Put that on your website. We'll do injured ankle parts.
I could do injuries now.
Yeah.
Get into that mental state very clearly.
So it was 5 months though.
March, April, May, June, July, August. Oh, 6.
6 months.
And
Yeah,
then
you were in
just-
here during the summer
Wow.
for another interview.
Yeah,
and you
it
were
was
all-
really funny. I walked in, they're like, "Whoa, she's injured."
Yeah.
I'm like, I wasn't kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
you
kind of
saw me
sucks.
in the
I
cast,
saw
too.
you. I
Yeah,
interviewed you. Yeah,
And who were you here with that day? You were here with your mom, I think.
Yeah, I think my mom became my
Entourage.
right hand. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
she was
my
helping you out,
sister,
yeah.
I couldn't literally do anything. And then my house is like, I live on my own, and it's like a spiral townhouse. So literally, I had to have somebody like the kitchen's
Carry you?
downstairs. No, pretty much they would do everything for me because the
Wow.
stairs going up and down with
With a
crutches
sword, yeah, that
was
would
not
be
even an
impossible.
option. Well, it's just asking to die.
And for my
Then
Say that
down
again?
again.
our next
Yeah,
movie
what?
stunt, going down the stairs.
in crutches.
So somebody had to
Pretty much,
attend to
it
all
was
your
nice
wishes.
because normally I'm always so go and I have to do all this stuff for myself, and then everybody's like catering to. But yeah, I'm
Wow.
very like on the go all the time. So sitting down for that long was a very mentally challenging time. Yeah,
I mean, I've been injured for an extended period, and it's just,
really.
It's like for 4 days, you're like, okay, when the pain goes away, I'm good to go, and then you realize, oh,
This isn't gonna
it's
go
not going
away.
away. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's too bad. Well, I'm glad you're
Crazy.
better now.
Thank you.
New movies? What's going on? What's coming up in the next little while?
So I finally did, or I'm doing the pickup shots from where I fractured my ankle. So I went back to shooting the assassin scenes for Lady of the Night, which all my scenes got.
That's the movie, Lady of the Night?
Yeah, they changed it to I'm sitting down just because for insurance purposes, I guess they're like, she's not doing any of that anymore.
Right,
yeah, so, well, that makes sense because still it's
Tender?
not all there.
Okay.
Yeah, they won't risk it for sure, yeah.
No, like if anything, I'm shocked that they actually waited, but they shot everything and it's actually in post, but they were just waiting for those specific scenes for me to like
Couple
shoot.
of pickups from you.
So
Pickup
now
shots.
now there's some shots of you being an assassin sitting down?
No, yeah, now I'm sitting down for the rest of my scenes. Or like I'm standing and then they'll like play the intensity, like, oh, the camera like zooms in to just that. But
But you're sitting down.
How many
Having
scenes
a
are
nap.
left? How many scenes are left?
Getting a pedicure.
oh my God, it was still quite a bit, like at least half of it. And half of it was like the most intense scenes because we were doing rehearsals for those scenes. But then
Where are
they
you
had
shooting?
to. Well, it was here in Hamilton. I find like
Yeah.
a lot of like warehouses or productions are actually more up there.
Yeah.
So now tell us about this. So you play an assassin, and who are you trying to kill?
The bad people who the
The bad
law
people.
doesn't take care of. You know, I'm one of those double life type of characters. Like by day I'm one person, and by night I'm like.
Who are you
something
by
else.
day?
Like Batman kind of thing?
Yeah, pretty much.
you're
I'm
Batwoman.
very like down to earth, and like I work as a clerk, but I see what's going on kind
Right.
of in the world, and then you just take matters into your own.
Do you wear like a special suit, like a scuba suit or anything?
It's like Catwoman?
You should have
Yeah.
worn it today. That would have been fun. Do you
And
have
then
a-
every
do you
time
have a
she made a
picture?
move- every
Is there a
time-
picture of it?
Every time she wants
I
to
don't
move
think
on her
it's on
chair,
there,
it would be
no.
like.
Right.
You ever
Yeah.
notice that in the leather suits? It's just not the best.
Or
thing
if
to
you're
be
wearing
kinda
leather
squeaky.
pants
Squeaky.
and the leather seats, and
Yeah.
then
Is that leather outfit squeaky at all?
Can I ask a question? You have very what's the word? Exotic looks.
okay?
What's the recipe for this?
France and Mexico.
Mexico.
France and
Mexico
Mexico.
City.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
it's
kind
a-
of dark.
But you have a very unique look. Like it's
Oh,
very
thank
exotic,
you.
right? And I think that plays a lot into getting parts and
Being an
the
assassin.
shoots that
Definitely.
you get and that sort of thing. Yeah.
Well, it's one of those like people want something that's like they can't figure out. That's kind of interesting because everything that's like too commercial, it's like, oh, been there, done that. But it's like I don't really know what this is, but let's talk about it.
I honestly believe in the future, everybody will look somewhat like you, based on. It's true. This is my personal
It's like
opinion.
Resident Evil. I have
Like-
clones.
You and I, you
She's
mean?
good.
We're going to look like her too?
No, our time is come and gone, and we are unfortunately
So this is it?
balding weird honkies. But
This is it.
in the future, my daughter, my son, whatever, likely
gonna-
will marry somebody of a diverse culture to ours.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
And in the
okay.
I
end,
get it.
we're all going to be sort
Different.
of. I think so.
Melting pot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
you're future lady, future woman.
She's a future.
Right.
You are our future.
Welcome to the future.
That is very interesting. Any projects coming up that you want to share with?
Well, I have. Well, that's not. I push production so much, so that won't be out definitely until next year. And then there's also No One Will Notice, which is another movie that I was working on at the time. It's very like Dextery.
Right.
It stars Joseph and Eric Follow from Days of Our Lives, so that was a lot of fun to like actually work with those characters or those people.
Right.
And during that time that I broke my ankle, I started collaborating with a lot of designers. So we have a clothing line that's going to be coming out. I love fashion, so that's one of my main loves. So then that's coming out.
Now,
More
what
by,
kind
like,
of clothing?
Christmas time.
Like,
Kind of like what I'm wearing. It's very like more leather, high fashion kind of look.
okay, cool.
Yeah, so that's fine. But what I noticed was what really worked was with the designers. They all come back to like your website and they look at your style because they want to see if they're going to be in line with like who
Right.
you are and all that stuff.
With your image.
With your image, yeah. So then it really, with your website and all that stuff, it just kind of reinforces for them. They're like, okay, so we could definitely use her. Because they'll talk to you, I found like with meetings, it's like literally for maybe like 2, 5, 10 minutes. And then it goes straight to like, okay, what is she doing? Okay, can we actually see ourselves working with her? And then I like a lot of my images, I have like red hair and like just they're very versatile. So it's like, okay, we can definitely like work with her. She can get branded to different ways.
Now, and you know what? Yeah, you have red hair. I see you with blonde hair.
Yeah,
See you
I
with
just
black hair?
have a cover that just came out for Chulo magazine. It's like Maxim, but for more Mexican
Right.
base, more Mexican.
More Mexican. More Mexican base.
Oh, yeah,
That sounded really funny.
Moremexican.com.
Well, they're my.
Well, I saw that on your
my
Facebook, by
marketing
the
team
way.
is trying to tap
Actually, I
into the
called you
podcast
after I saw
credit.
it.
Oh
Because I went, holy jeez.
They're like, wow, what are you
That's a
wearing?
great
They're like, wait
picture.
a minute, you're not really wearing anything.
Right.
Like little diamonds on the side. Yeah, so then when they can see you like in different looks.
Why would you encumber yourself with putting on all those diamonds? Seems ridiculous.
I don't put them on. Somebody else
okay.
puts them on.
That was-
No, like on the side.
Oh,
Because it was
okay.
like a side shot.
Oh.
Where's this shot exactly?
It's on
I think
it's on her
It's on my
Facebook.
Facebook. Yeah, the magazine just came out this month. So then.
We should add it to the cover of your website.
Yeah, people are going to be like, what is she doing?
What is going on?
Well, yeah.
What's the latest with modeling, by the way? Because you've been in Maxim, all the
yeah,
different, like Maxim Britain, Maxim
UK. Like I've done my fair share. And even when I had the broken ankle, I did quite a few photo shoots that they kind of covered
Really?
that part. Yeah. So you're like
They
fully
photoshopped,
implied.
photoshopped out your leg?
No, they would cover it with like a sheet.
Oh, a sheet.
Yeah, and
Oh,
then they
okay.
kind of just crop it. Then you're
Oh,
like,
okay.
I'm very comfortable, mommy. Well, my leg is totally twisted.
Yeah.
They don't stop.
It's amazing what you can do with a sheet.
It's amazing what Photoshop does.
It is pretty cool.
You can do a lot of things with a sheet.
You can cover up your leg.
If it wasn't for Photoshop, I wouldn't even have a modeling career.
Should we talk about how long you've been modeling now, Mike?
It's embarrassing because it started in the 30s and it's really never picked up steam. So it was 1940 before I really had my first job, and
Now
But then
you-
your voice kicked in. Your
now
sexy
you,
voice.
Now you,
your
model,
career.
now you modeled men's underwear, right? For a while?
Yes, and I'm still doing that. If you want to book me,
Oh, man. Cucumber. We've covered everything. I think everybody knows who you are now. I think everybody knows about websites, a
and
little
the
bit
power
more
of
about
websites.
websites.
Yeah, ultimately, it can. It's one of those that either makes you or it doesn't even break you. You kind of just need it. Like it's not even really an option anymore.
it's
Like
beyond that, right?
yeah, it's like having a cell phone nowadays. Everybody has it, so it's almost how can you not have it?
And it needs to feel like your brand instantly, or people become confused by it. And you know this from having done our website, Paul, that when for a short time we had our old site and the new site up on different URLs, and people would go to the old one and say, I'm so confused by your site. Nothing's on there anymore.
Yeah.
When it was a 24-hour period that we didn't have our domains straightened away, and when you
Right.
helped us get that done,
Yep.
the very next day, I never heard another thing about that website but compliments.
Right.
In fact, I don't even get that so much, which is how I know that it's a good working site, because people just expect it is going to be that way.
Right.
What I found that was really useful actually when I went we were doing the brainstorming was there's so much that comes into play with like who you like. I wasn't even sure like how I was getting branded, like because my agent, my manager, like they all take care of that. But when you were asking me like the direct questions of like, so where do you want
who's
your
your
career to
target
go,
audience?
who's your
Yeah,
target audience, and like for future reference, that comes into play with products, right? So then all of that has to be like very visual and like on the website right away. So even for consultations, like you guys just really like hit the core, and then you kind of grow from there, which is the most important thing. Otherwise, if people don't get it, then they're not going to do business with you, especially
Right.
products. Like they just have to get it
Brands-
right away.
Brands want to know right away. If you're
Oh
good for
yeah,
them,
it has to be. What's the first word that describes them, and that's it.
Right. Thank you for coming to see us today
Thank
and being part of
you.
Marketing 411. Mr. Wixon,
Where can people reach you, Paul?
they can reach
you're
me
a shameless
at
self-promoter, but let me help anyway.
they can reach me at acewebdesign.ca or adarmygroup.com.
And let's just put it out there that maybe people. Where can people reach you by telephone too?
416-286-2860.
It just seems
What
weird that somebody
what just
might
happened?
actually do that. First. Why did she hand out? Why did he,
Was that her leather?
She was disgusted that I handed out a telephone number.
No, I was just thinking of like my situations where my number goes out, and I was like, great, now I have to change my number.
Okay, Veronica, what's your number
Probably.
then? Let's have that. No, just kidding.
You can reach Veronica at 416.
Now, what's your website?
www.
286-2860.
Yeah, Paul handed out
I'm going to
his
get all
number.
these studs calling me. Hopefully
Yeah.
they want a
Hey
website.
baby, what are you wearing?
Hey, buddy.
Yeah. It's not Veronica. It's
Veronica
Paul.
there or what?
It's Victoria.
I don't care. Is Victoria there then?
Yeah, where is Victoria?
I'm very sorry I did that.
Were you thinking
No,
about
no, no,
Victoria's
it's okay.
Secret
I was actually
lingerie?
thinking
I
about
love
Queen.
Victoria's Secret.
I was actually thinking about Queen Victoria. Anyway, I digress.
Okay.
Only because isn't today Queen Victoria Day?
I'm not
What?
sure.
No, I made
Isn't
that
it
up.
Wednesday? Like come Wednesdays?
Like who?
Oh, okay. It's really weird.
Do we have the ending?
Would you like the ending, Paul?
Yeah, let's do the ending.
Okay, we'll do the
Thank
ending.
you, Veronica, so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike,
Thank
so
you,
much.
guys.
Thanks Thanks for tuning in. If you want to be a guest on our show or just want to get in touch, visit us at marketing411.ca.